Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Shock and Awe toy review.
Very special.
Very special, because Berg and I are in the same room. I am joined by Toast.
Hello.
And, of course, Berg, who just spoke. This is the first time in so long.
Months.
It feels like just yesterday.
Well, I mean, we haven't reviewed anything together. We've been around each other. But this is a very special one because we are so excited about this toy and this packaging. What is this, Berg?
This is S to the P to the A to the on. Spawn. I don't know if you guys know this. Apparently Todd's running out of money and had to do a Kickstarter to make a toy.
Yeah.
And he here's what he gave us. This is a dumb black sleeve. And then he gave us this shoebox.
That's bigger than a shoebox.
But
unless you got big feet.
Two more boxes.
I want everyone to notice this. Not
A toy.
It should say not fun? Question mark.
We don't care about packaging.
Dan.
This is the most packaging I've ever experienced.
Anyway, there's a Kickstarter. There are 3 versions. There are many add-ons. Blah blah blah.
We're just reviewing the classic first.
We are reviewing the classic one. This is possibly my copy. This might be the deciding factor.
Oh.
But basically, you get this giant box with some nice stuff. You get this little piece of fabric here that opens it up. You get a comparison checklist.
This is the weirdest thing.
Just so you know how shitty the 1994 original figure was and how great the new one is, except for the fact that it does not have plastic chains and does not have plastic hinges.
I would say some of that is misleading.
And then you have to look at the fine print that says depending upon the individually purchased tier. And I'm willing to argue on almost all of these points if anyone wants to go.
We won't be doing that. We'll let you do that in the comments if you want.
Yeah. So then you get that. And you also get this Masterworks certificate of authenticity. And then you get this thing, which is supposed to resemble your wonderful toy that you bought in 1994 at KB Toys when you said, "Hey lady, do you have the Spawn figures in?" And she said, "The Elijah figures, like the basketball player?" And you're like, "No, Spawn." "Well, we got a case of those. Can you set those aside for me?" "Sure can." And you go to KP Toys after your math class in college and you buy the whole set. I'll cut that out. So you get this gigantic clamshell.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah. Flying cape has swing open action. It's somewhat positioned as in the original figure. It's ridiculously big. And it comes with collector-friendly packaging, unlike the original ones. So that pops open.
There's your comic.
Or maybe the comic does have it on the back. I don't know.
I haven't taken the comic out. It's going to be worse. Oh,
Oh, it does.
oh, shit.
Oh, take that in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's my 18,000th copy of Spawn #1.
Yeah.
Except this one has glossy pages on the inside. Ooh. But we don't care about comics or packaging, do we, fellas?
Not
No,
on this channel.
not this one.
Or making sense or having fun. So then we take this thing out, and then you're like, I can get to my toy. Nope, he's got even more.
Not yet.
And
I think it's taped.
it is taped.
So, as usual, let's start with the sculpt and the paint.
All right, so
These are places where Todd shines. Let's be honest, though. The sculpt,
well,
detail-wise.
we have essentially a slightly larger, non-accurate depiction of the regular Spawn figure from 1994. The cape has all kinds of textured, very leathery, cracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the proper term is.
Well, you already said texture-y.
Texture.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's random black highlights all over that don't seem to follow any real pattern. Because if that's dark, then this would be dark, but it's not. But hey, Todd, this is dark. It looks slightly better than a Ghostbusters dirt paint job.
Wow.
Coming around to the head sculpt.
Now, I do want to mention real quick that since these do move, this is a harder plastic, and there's really no give here in any of the...
Yeah, just like the original case. If you get in that head sculpt, this is... I'm probably wrong. Hopefully one of you can correct me. This is not the original Spawn head. It is a more modern looking head because Spawn's white things didn't go around his chin or on top of his head originally.
Right.
So you get that. The piercing green energy eyes. You get white with a dark wash over the face.
That's sculpted, isn't it? It's not just...
Yes, the white part is actually raised. You got some very cool, super Todd McFarlane Spawn skulls. Like that's like if you showed that skull to anybody, like, oh, that's a Todd McFarlane skull. Then you get chest with some muscles. They have great paint in the white. All the white looks good except for where he randomly has some washes that don't kind of match anything else. All the low lights in the musculature are highlighted except for in the rib cage, but the inside of the rib cage is, but not the outside. Again, another Spawn Todd McFarlane
Skull. With real chains.
Real chains. I don't know if it's just my copy, but there is a paint effect right there. You got your super art detailed pouch.
90s pouches.
90s pouches. The white part is raised. The red part is not raised, and I believe that's just because it's... Oh no, it's a different white pattern. Okay. He's got cool Spawn hands. Super crazy Todd McFarlane Spawn #1 hands. He's made those hands and everything. Looks great. He got the original calf massage spikes that are super crazy pointy. These ones aren't so bad. These hurt. And then what I never noticed on any other Spawn toy, and hopefully you can correct me, he's wearing socks.
Kinda, yeah.
No, those are just...
The way it's sculpted, it's not a sock, but it's just his costume is tighter around his toes and stuff this time. That's the way they've started doing it. I don't know what to tell you.
Mortal Kombat was the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got this...
So instead of having...
It's not
toes,
socks. It's just... I get what you're saying.
It's a symbiote skin.
Yes, thank you.
All the buttons are picked out on there. It is very well done. Unlike Mortal Kombat Spawn, he does not have like texture all over his body.
Right,
Like
right,
he's not,
yeah. He's smoother, yes.
He's smoother, and he has the trademark old school McFarlane muscle striations that immediately just popped out at me like, oh yeah, that's totally how Todd draws a bicep. So I appreciate that.
And now how do you feel about the kind of crooked torso pose that he's got going on?
I
So
was
weird.
told to save that for final thoughts.
Okay, no. Well, let's just point out, though, that it isn't a straight up and down pose. It is a pose that's...
Todd thinks that this will be better than anything I could do with my toy, and wants to make sure that even the most vanilla poser or person who just keeps it in the box, at least there's some action going on in his torso.
Mm-hmm.
And so he will always be crooked. That's fine
Moving
for
on.
now.
All right, we're
Moving Schnikes around.
moving them around. Yes, I can't wait.
So let's get this out of the way. The original cape sucked at folding. If you folded it too much, it probably would have turned. This has a hinge, works just fine as
That
long
hinge.
as.
So let me just say that hinge is much smoother than mine.
Yes,
Like
me too.
moving mine, I'm
It's cracked.
fearful of it.
Yeah, it snaps. Do you hear a snap when you move it?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so that's smooth. I feel like that's unrepresentative
Yeah.
because mine.
Is the other
I'm
one
scared.
tight or loose? Okay.
So I just want to point out that it only looks right in one pose because of the crappy paint job. His head is on a ball joint up here, and then he has a neck joint that gives you lots of good range. But if you move it too far, you get a giant gaping hole.
Yeah, it'll come out.
Arms, elbows are ball jointed, but definitely hindered by the cape.
It's got biceps. So
He's got a bicep swivel, and he has a elbow swivel. Elbow is
single jointed.
single joint with some slight ratchets.
Am I wrong in thinking that we were originally getting double jointed elbows?
No.
No?
No.
We were never getting double jointed elbows?
I don't remember double jointed elbow.
Okay.
I want to point out that he painted the pegs
Yeah.
so it looks right, unlike every other toy we ever reviewed.
Nice.
Same articulation on the other arm. He's got a ball jointed, super tons of that range. That's
Yeah.
great. No movement in the chest, so the joint that he's been using for all his DC figures, he didn't use for this guy, so you're stuck with a solid as hell torso. But you can get a ton of range in his waist.
Fortnite guys also have double elbows.
His underwear, for better term, is a softer plastic, like he could have used in the torso, but he probably didn't do that to hold on to this heavy ass cape. Legs move in and out. It's got the new McFarlane T crotch. Ow, those are sharp. Double jointed knees,
Boot cut, boot swivel.
boot swivel, ball jointed. Wilson's favorite joint, ankle, toe.
Yep.
Same on the other side. He has a thigh swivel on this side. He does not have a thigh swivel on this side. So he's articulated. He is nowhere near or as articulated as the Image 10th anniversary or whatever it was Spawn figure that came out in the early 2000s.
Yeah, this one's not going to be getting very hunched over, spooky, crouching poses. This is a standing up. You can get some cool action stuff though, but his cape is
His
a bit
cape
of a hindrance.
is, let's just say it, redonkulously heavy.
Yeah.
I was gonna say hindrance, but sure.
Remember that.
Now they come with some stuff. Again, we're only reviewing the classic version, so we'll only be looking
The
at that one.
aforementioned stand
Yes,
that we already tossed aside. He comes with
hamburger head
Spawn
screaming.
33 cover head.
Maybe I don't think so, but that's more of a modern Spawn head actually, which is what's funny. Because with modern Spawn, you get the shoelace head, which the shoelace head was on this guy originally.
I won't remember class, but I'm gonna find the cover that I'm thinking of. It's maybe Spawn 45.
Now this head is different from this one in that it's not on a ball joint.
Correct.
Yeah, this is a
So-
whole neck.
Yeah, that's just a whole neck
Whole
piece.
neck. So you lose a joint, but you get this scully head.
It's really cool. It looks great.
It's got some skull bits. It's got his triangle eyes, some teeth, a lot of veiny neck, and then you get a lot of black for where it's smooth so it can go wee. You get some necro energy. Nice clear greenish snot. It has a handle.
Yep.
So he can hold it
Necro knife.
Necro knife or snot knife. It's got some little details on the handle. And yeah. What issue is this from?
Nothing. I've never seen that before in my life before.
Me neither. All right, we agree. He comes with massive Craig Capullo Spawn sword, which has got crazy intricate chain detail along this. It's got your Spawn symbol there.
Yep, boy.
McFarlane skull there. Spawn eyes on it. Same on the other side. It's got 3 triangles there for the Holy Trinity of Spawn, 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 and Callistro. It's got a brown hilt, and it's got green dots on the hilt. And like all Spawn toys used to have, but no DC toy has, you break it.
Yep.
And that pops off. So you can slide it on and not break your toy or have bleeding fingers from trying to shove whoever's sword in their hand. I can't remember who it was.
And the sword is straight.
Oh,
It is. It's nice.
And then you get Wilson's sad piece. This awesome
That's so cool.
McFarlane, Greg Capullo, crazy gun.
I'm blaming McFarlane for that, not Capullo.
It's a little bent up here. It's got multiple paint apps. Does not move or come apart. Has this crazy, only Spawn guy would have a knife like that attached to his gun, because by the time you run out of this ammo and that ammo and blowing them up, you can run up and gut them and then get your knife stuck in them. So he comes with 2 crazy Todd McFarlane hands, and then he has a gripping hand and a
Relaxed grip.
relaxed grip.
That might be the thing that holds that can hold the Necros thing too.
And then he has right hands that do the same stuff. And maybe you can remember this part. Like, people were all upset because originally one Spawn came with one set of hands or other hands, and everyone like, "Oh, what hands?" And they're like, "Okay, fine, you can all have a gazillion hands." And everyone's like, "We want something else. Stop giving it."
I don't remember that.
That sounds right. Sounds like internet commenters.
Like, and then my favorite piece, the Spawn turkey leg.
Euro on a stick. They didn't paint the nails in the board, which is interesting.
Well, that is interesting because they did. They painted them brown, though.
That's what I mean.
Because I don't know if it's showing up in camera, but there is a difference in color between this and that. They're super rusty dirty.
Okay,
They're
fair
caked with
enough.
dirt.
Fair enough.
So the guy who can do necroblasts and has machine guns and giant swords built himself a crazy chicken leg with a giant hook, because hooks are cool. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that hurts. Look, see it? Put a hole in my finger. So do these. So this is pretty cool. Again, it's got some. I just missed the board.
Yeah.
Like, why change a classic? Like, this is like,
I can't believe that you actually. I feel like if we had gotten the original board, you'd be like, he updates everything, and this is the one thing he doesn't update.
And he comes with the aforementioned the foil edition comic.
So cool stuff.
Lots of stuff. If you get the other versions, you get different versions of the stuff and slightly different stuff.
And it's all interchangeable too, which is nice.
Yeah.
Heads can go on anybody.
And if you were wondering, the snot knife can be held. Because I was wondering.
Yep.
And for a sense of scale, you got a 6-inch Peter B. Parker.
Mm-hmm.
And Mortal Kombat Spawn with custom t-shirt cape.
All right, so for the final thoughts, I'll go ahead and start. I'm giving him a solid 3 out of 5. I enjoy him. I bought the trilogy. I love the way he looks, and actually, you know what? He moves more than I thought he would, especially the waist swivel. I was worried when it came out. And they showed, that he didn't. I was expecting a torso cut here. So he'd be 3 separate pieces like the Mortal Kombat one, and clearly it wasn't. And for whatever reason, I was expecting single or double jointed elbows and a removable cape. That's on me, but I still wasn't disappointed. I really love the accessories. I have fun moving around. He can't get in every pose, but he can get in the poses that I want him to, and I find them fun. The biggest complaint that I have though is, since this is such a hard piece, it limits his arms could move up a lot more, but you're not going to get them because there's no give here in this plastic. And that's why I kind of would have liked a removable cape, because then you could put your own on, like I did with the Mortal Kombat one. You could get your own t-shirt cape and put that on, and then you'd be able to get more movement out of them.
Removable cape or cloth cape?
Either, but I don't. Todd would never do a cloth anything. So.
Zombie Spawn.
Oh, you're right. But that was just like a crotch cloth.
Tooth Fairy.
I didn't have that toy. I can see why this is a
lady from Sleepy Hollow.
Okay. So this torso thing where it's curved, that is kind of weird. Luckily, that doesn't bother me as much, since you can, you can turn them and stuff. And the neck thing doesn't bother me any. To me, it still looks fine. It's weird that he decided to go with that, but you know what? It is what it is. So overall, it's not perfect. It's not the ultra articulated thing that you're probably wanting or most people wanted. I don't feel like a fast one was pulled on us, though, really. I know I've read some comments that have said that, but I'm happy enough with him. I thought he was worth it. I don't know that I'll be, if I kickstart if he does another one.
He announced he's doing
medieval.
All right, I won't be doing Medieval Spawn.
I think it depends for me on which version of Medieval Spawn.
For sure, but they'll have to see, because that one's going to be rough.
Off camera, you were saying I probably have the most positive to say, and then you gave him a 3.
Yeah, well, he's not great, but
Yes.
3's a good score. 3.5. I mean, I have fun with them enough.
Doesn't speak well for us. So I've had mine for about a week and a half, and I still haven't figured out a score for him.
Is that the one you have?
This is the one I have.
Okay.
And I possibly made a mistake, because I wanted all the heads, honestly. I think the screaming head is awesome. I'm glad I got the screaming head, but I did want both an Al Simmons and a shoelace face that come with modern, but I didn't want the gauntlet in the boot. So, kind of a toss-up. Anyway, I think he's good, and I am, again, the shelf toy guy. So I am the pose it and forget it.
Please show me a pose that you enjoy.
Mine is actually in a similar pose to this, because
He doesn't look good in any other way.
yes, because this neck is a piece of shit.
Oh, wow.
And once you move it, it's either gappy or it makes no sense.
It's not that bad. I don't think it's.
It is bad.
It's not that bad.
Bad. Like we
I
showed it when it was disconnected.
Yeah.
Because of the shape, and again the sculpt, it doesn't line up well. And I don't understand why he's got so many other toy lines with consistent build, but in this thing, he's like, F it, it's all out the window.
Because this is Todd doing what Todd wants the most.
Clearly. And I think what he wants most is just irritating fans.
Yeah, maybe.
So I think the sculpt is good. I wish it weren't sculpted the way it is.
But you saw it. Like
I saw it. I knew what I was doing.
You knew what
I
you
was
were
doing.
Okay.
I thought.
Yeah.
I knew articulation and I knew the chest curve.
Right.
But actually having it,
Yeah.
the neck is misleading.
I think I can understand the problem being more like, since every other head other than the masked one doesn't have the ball joint, it's a little weird. I think it would be better if they all had the ball joint. I think they could have done that.
Yeah.
I also think if he had done a torso cut here, there'd be less problem with this crooked, body curve, whatever you're calling it. I think that would have fixed some of the problems.
I like these chains more than I like these because
Yeah.
I think these links are too big.
Yeah.
And there's like a big. I wonder if I can hide the ring joint behind the skull. Anyway, so I do have him posed in a pose that makes sense for the sculpt. So the head is pretty stationary, and
So what, 2.5?
I think.
Do you regret your purchase? Because you paid what for him? 50? 60?
65, whatever it. I just got the single, which I
Yeah.
thought was 65.
Probably.
And I wish I could have gotten less to pay less. I don't need the amount of packaging.
Oh, yeah.
I have him posed with the sword. And I always appreciate additional hands. But this cape, I don't know what he's doing. I'll say 2.5.
2.5, all right.
The paint is good, except for what's on the cape that makes no artistic sense.
See, you guys noticed that doesn't stand out to me at all. As like being a problem. I just think it looks cool.
I'm glad you're happy. Can we all just say it, class? So he showed a statue and said, hey, we're updating the Spawn figure, and everyone got confused. And he said, it's going to have modern articulation. It's
We're
going to
talking about Toy Fair.
Toy Fair.
Yep.
Pre-Kickstarter.
Yep.
Showed a statue that looked like the original Spawn toy. And he said, it's going to have modern paint.
Check.
No. It's going to have modern articulation.
Half check.
Yes. It's going to have modern sculpting.
Check.
No. It's going to have modern packaging. 1,000% check. What a goddamn waste.
Wow, I know.
So everyone complained, at least my friends, when the original Spawn toys came out, that they were in clamshells because clamshells were possible. You had to get scissors or tear them apart. Whereas you pick up your Toy Biz X-Men guy and you could shake it and the card would fall. And then he showed it, and I went, "It's the same statue." And people were like, "No, it's not." I'm like, "It's crooked." No, it's not. No, look at his chest. If he throws articulation on that thing, it's not going to work or ever look right, except for in whatever predisposed pose that Spawn, aka Todd, wants you to put him in. And people said, "No, just wait till you see the articulation." And then he showed us every piece of articulation, but the chest was still crooked. And then he showed us real chains,
And there was articulation without the cape.
And there was articulation without the cape. And you went, huh.
So you maybe thought that the arms moved more than they do.
100%.
And I saw this thing, and he kept throwing more little things like, "Oh, you can get alternate heads," and then "Oh, but that guy has open fists, and this guy, oh," and then they gave him, everyone gets the same hands, but you get different heads, and why can't you just give me one figure and give me an a la carte? I had thoughts in my head that possibly, maybe, it wouldn't be as awful, and I could at least pose it in a pose where I could be happy with it. And then I saw more and more and more pictures of it and just got more and more like, it doesn't look good. The chest is always crooked. There isn't chest articulation to offset it. There's no way his arms will ever be moved. It's just like the Batman animated figure. That's why they gave you 2 capes.
All right, let me stop you there, because you're talking about the 10th anniversary and the original and not reading Spawn for 300 issues.
Yeah.
Why do you keep buying Spawn toys?
Because when I bought Spawn #1, I love Spawn. I was buying everything Spawn. And when the 10th anniversary came out, Marvel Legends had just come out, and they were crazy articulated versions. And they're like, "Hey, here's a 6-inch Spawn that's crazy articulated." And that was 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 15, 20 years, Todd
You said it was 10th anniversary?
Yeah.
So that would have been 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in the 18 years,
Yeah.
the cape is the same sculpt. Like it's the same leathery pattern that he's had on almost every Spawn cape. I'm super disappointed in the paint. Like,
Wow. Really?
it looks so dumb.
I will say your copy seems to have a little more sloppiness than mine.
Like, just looking at the cape right now, I can see like 4 spots where like that should be dark based on where your other spray paints are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. He told me, he said modern paint.
Yeah. That's
No,
modern
you
paint.
painted this guy 15, 20 years ago.
Well, what did you want on the cape? No shading? Or just shading that makes sense, quote?
It needs a wash over the entire cape.
Okay.
There isn't. There's just random black splotches.
I'm going to say there's enough folds in there already to create shadows.
Natural light, natural
Yes.
shadow.
Right.
So the fact that like right here there's no shadow in that fold, but the 2 on the other side there is. Like, what? Right here. There's shadow, paint, no paint, paint. But they're all the same exact.
I just missed the spot.
Oh, yeah. And then you turn around this one and go, oh, there's more on this side. And the fact that I've been playing with him this entire review and have yet to come to a single pose that I'm like, yeah, no, this is a Spawn pose. I've seen Spawn do this. I haven't read Spawn in 250 issues, but I've seen 317 plus 5 variants for every 50 issues plus,
You've seen it in a lot of covers, yeah.
I've seen a lot of covers. I can kind of get a Spawn pose, right?
Yeah.
This guy will never, ever, ever, ever be able to stand and hug a fucking gravestone like Spawn does all the time.
Yeah.
He will never be able to Spider-Man pose on the corner or Batman pose on the corner. He will have to stand there static.
Mm.
I agree with Toast 100%. The chains on his hips are ridiculously out of scale. They're the same. The chains are the same in every Spawn picture.
Mm-hmm.
And yet these ones aren't.
Hit us with some more positive. You got any more positive other than just the
Oh,
the
there's
hands?
something I forgot.
Oh, okay, go on.
How this red on the pouches doesn't match red that's anywhere else on the figure.
What, except like here and here and here? Full both of you.
It's darker red.
You guys need your eyes checked. This figure looks fantastic. So how do you rate this guy?
How do I
then?
rate this guy? He failed the 1 foot test.
Well, yeah, he's got a brick on the back on his back.
So he doesn't get a 1.
Oh, shit. Not even a half? Is this our first 0? Is this our first 0? You're really going to do this to me?
He's not as bad as North American Sasquatch.
Okay.
I want to give him a 1, but he does come with a bunch of accessories. The accessories are well done. They had
This again is for a single pose. You put it in his hand, and it doesn't move.
Everything he's given you on this toy is to give me a statue that if I move it looks out of place. I knew that going in. I was hoping with his talk.
So do you feel like you got swindled?
I do not feel like I got swindled. I feel like I tried my best to swindle myself.
So you feel like you lied to yourself a little bit then?
I feel like I allowed myself hope that the thing that really threw me off with all of this was the DC guys, because they are much better than this guy. Even the worst one that I played with is better than this. There's not a crooked chest muscle on those guys that articulate. Like his arm articulation is essentially useless. Like, why even give it to me? Articulation, when you can't use it, is pointless.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm gonna give this guy a 1.
Okay.
I'm super disappointed. To tell you the truth, I was super disappointed with everything about it up until I opened the box last week when we were originally gonna think about kind of maybe reviewing it.
Yeah.
I saw him in the box, and I had this overwhelming sense of deja vu, and I'm like, oh man, I remember how much I loved that first Spawn toy, because at the time, every toy had 6 points of articulation.
Right.
And but this was Spawn, and this was by Todd, and there was the whole like, oh, he said "F you" to Mattel, and he made his own toy, and Spawn, and holy crap, there's a board with a nail in it. But this thing,
I can't believe that's the huge selling point for you folks. Go on. I love it.
this thing is just, he did it to me again. He got me hyped, and he showed me exactly. He's like, I'm gonna make him crooked. I'm gonna give you the paint that you expect, the modern paint. Well, Todd, you got me, because your modern paint, it's there. You got straight lines. Congratulations. What a piece of disappointing.
I think I'm in a similar boat of trying to convince myself during the Kickstarter that this was going to be better than what I knew it was going to be. I'm ultimately not disappointed. Like, I do still want a cool Spawn toy, and this is
Not it.
it's good,
No.
but it's not ideal for me.
Well, how do you feel now about the Mortal Kombat one? Other than the fact that it's not the Spawn you wanted.
I actually like the Mortal Kombat Spawn less.
Wow.
I like the Mortal Kombat Spawn more, just because he can use the art. Like, you can move his arms. You can put him in Spawn poses. You can put him in a pose from the game where he's fighting.
Okay, well, on that happy note,
I can't. No, it's just.
I know it's
he's
fun.
not fun.
I understand.
I don't know how you have fun with him.
I just do. I like
like-
Spawn. I like putting guns and stuff in his hands. I think
But
he can
can't
pose.
even shoot the gun. Like,
Yeah, he can.
he can't even put the gun up on the side of his head.
So what? I don't want
That's
him to
the
do
pose.
that. That's not the pose that I
can
want
do
him
that
in.
pose with any.
That's fine, but that's not the pose I want to do him to
don't-
do. I want him to have it shooting.
Okay.
So on that note, thank you for watching any and all amounts that you did. We hope you stuck around for everything. We wanted this one to sort of be a little longer. We had all three of us finally, and this is the one that we are going to disagree the most on, and I think that's
and
true.
we want everybody to know, because this is going to get cut out. We're totally like right up in each other's faces and touching, and yeah.
There we go.
This toy. God damn it! I hate it more. I
I'm
can't.
just mad because it's terrible. Say it.
I'm just mad because it's terrible.
Perfect. Thank you.